Muy buenas, brujeros, aquí Guge, jugando a The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. Y hoy vamos a ver un poquito lo que es nuestra nueva casa, porque no tengo mucho tiempo ahora para grabar, o sea, hoy sí que va a ser un día tranquilito. Así que vamos a ver qué nos cuentan aquí y a lo mejor hacemos una misión cortita. Como un contrato, por ejemplo, o algo. A ver, ¿quieren que vengamos por aquí? Vale, tengo mayordomo. Esto ya es un punto.
I am Barnabas Basil Fawlty. By order of the Duchess, I shall serve you as Majordomo of Corfu Bianco.
Oh, mira qué bien. Ya tengo mi propio Alfred.
I previously served with distinction at the Nibley family manor and in Nazaire with Admiral Rompali, who, as you are certain to know, is an extraordinary, demanding gentleman.
Whoa, Barnabas Basil. One thing you ought to know. I'm not your typical landed gentleman. Truth be told, this is the first real property I've ever owned.
Oh, in that case, you must leave it all to me. I shall organize, see to everything, and whip the house into order. I dare say this place will soon be the most prosperous vineyard around.
Mi propio viñedo,
I can already see I'm in good hands.
Vale, cuéntame algo más de este lugar.
Vineyard comes across as a place with a rich history. Know who owned it before me?
Baron Rossel, who went bankrupt, forcing him to sell the estate to the Duchess. The Baron, in turn, had purchased it from Monsieur Bolius of the Headsman, a truly colorful man of Ketweni origin.
He was actually a headsman?
No, not him, but his great-great-great-great-grandfather.
What?
Indeed. Apparently, he was a common cut-purse who somehow secured for himself the post of ducal headsman in Beauclair. Went about his work with an exceptional penchant. They say he chopped off more heads than there are grapevines in the ducal vineyards.
Buah,
He
eso
never
es un poco bestia, ¿no?
Not once. Never sliced unevenly, never botched a job. For his exemplary service, the Duke granted him a title and this estate. Monsieur Bolius, on the other hand, was an engineer in his younger years. Once retired, he settled here and took to producing wine. Sadly, misfortune struck and he lost his sense first of smell, then of taste. Additionally, he could not drink alcohol. His medic forbade it.
Shame that. He gave up making wine?
Not at all. He made even more of it. Began throwing wild balls to which he'd invite friends from far and wide in order to treat them to his wine and delight in the fact that at least someone could enjoy it. It's the sort of man he was, Monsieur Bolius.
Vamos, el que vende no consume. ¿Me enseñas el viñedo?
Mind giving me a little tour de Corvo Bianco?
Not in the least. Follow me, please. I think it would be practical to begin on the hill.
Vale, pues nos va a hacer un tour.
Behold, sir, your estate in all its splendor.
Pretty vast.
Indeed. And now, sir, allow me to show you a handful of interesting details. Follow me, please.
Been a majordomo all your life?
Yes, I come from a long line of majordomos. My father was a majordomo, as was my grandfather before him, as was my great-aunt. In fact, she was the one to start the tradition.
Great-aunt?
A hard woman. It is said that already as a child, she knew where she was going and went there. When she arrived in Beauclair, she
Llevar una vida
signed on as
servil.
a chambermaid at one of the vineyards.
Bueno, cada cual lo que quiera.
Slowly worked her way up to majordomo. She dragged the rest of the family up the same path.
I'd rather be an eagle than a quail. Yes,
The servants' quarters. I occupy the green home. With the Duchess's permission, I have hired a full staff. Their salaries to be paid from the ducal treasury.
Nice of her.
Not the most sightly part of the estate, I admit. But I think it's worthwhile for you as master of the domain to know where the help stays.
Hombre, yo creo que está bien, ¿no? Tendré que conocer el servicio. Aunque se me hace raro siendo brujo.
Baron Rossel ordered the vines in this part of the estate uprooted and olive groves planted in their place. They look beautiful, especially come spring.
Don't look at all bad now, either.
O sea, si tienes olivos también te dedicarás a la venta de aceite, ¿no?
Down below lies your vineyard, where we grow a strain of Carfanere, one of the world's oldest. Aged in oak barrels, it provides for an exquisite wine with distinct blackberry, wild cherry, plum, and cinnamon notes. Marvelous.
Wow. Have to try it one of these days.
Desde luego, que tienes que probarlo. Los gatos, como siempre, me tienen manía.
Nice well. Picturesque.
Yes, though it ran dry long ago. During the raucous feasts Master Bolius held, he would order it filled with wine. There's a tale about a guest attending a Bolius ball for the first time and thus unaware of the custom. He had suffered great heartbreak and had decided to end his life by jumping into the well.
Muy turbio.
Festivities were coming to a close, and the well was nearly empty when the suicidal guest finally jumped. Instead of killing himself, he merely broke his legs. To numb the pain, he drank the wine.
Drank himself to death?
Se mató bebiendo.
When found the next day, he had concluded he'd witnessed twin miracles. The water had
El agua se había transformado en vidrio.
and he had survived. He retired to a monastery in the Dragon Mountains and began preaching the wisdoms of Lebioda.
Ah, no hay mal que por bien no venga. Venga, tú sigue. Yo voy detrás. Venga.
Monsieur Bolius, his wife Nina, kept a garden here. A supremely lovely place it was.
Bit neglected now.
I agree. Yet nothing stands in the way of restoring it to its former glory, and once again planting it with herbs and other vegetation.
Vale, está claro que aquí voy a conseguir hierbas.
Madame Nina planted diminutive, delicate flowers and herbs here. One might say their aroma still hangs.
Hombre, estos son rosas.
You're quite the romantic, Barnabas Basil.
Es un romántico, sí. Bueno, no nos quedará ya mucho que ver, ¿no? Ya tendremos que entrar a la mansión, ¿no?
You smell that? Those are the vapors of Tucson.
This served as an additional wine cellar in years of plentiful harvests.
Bit of work and it'll make a fine stable for Roach.
Desde luego. Hombre, Sardinilla podría sentarse ya también aquí.
Wine is better than stew. For stew you have to chew.
The cellars, voila. During Monsieur Bolis's time, wine was kept here, but Baron Rossel used
Sí, ya he estado aquí
to store
dentro.
olive oil as well. I took the liberty of cleaning up the mess, which
I made while fighting the Bruxa. Thanks, Barnabas Basil. Appreciate it.
Wine is better than
Barnabas Basil le va a llamar todo el rato. Llámalo Barnabas, simplemente.
as you can see, the facade is, how to put it, slightly stained. But one cannot deny it, a certain subtle southern charm.
True, though it could use a bit of subtle paint.
Sí, y una reformilla también. ¿Vamos?
And welcome inside.
Vale, ya podemos ver nuestra
On the
casita.
left is the master bedroom. On the right, the dining hall and kitchen. Upstairs, you shall find the guest room, currently used for storage.
Not a bad idea.
At the moment, the house is only minimally furnished. Yet I believe we will, together, devise some innovative arrangements. A few paintings, for instance, would breathe new life into the abode immediately.
Creo que tengo un par de cuadros.
With that, sir, you've seen the full lay of the land. Corfo Bianco is a beautiful estate. Though one must admit, time has taken its toll. Forgive me for being forward, but if you were to choose to invest a small sum towards its beautification, consider me at your service on the matter.
Think I'll take you up on that. Be sure to come and see you if I decide to do any remodeling.
Vale, ¿podemos hacer alguna reforma? ¿Por cuánto oro?
The place could stand to be spruced up.
Almost decidedly, sir. The question is where you would like to begin this rejuvenation.
A ver, la casa, algunas mejoras en el terreno. Creo que prefiero hacer mejoras en el terreno, a ver si consigo
Got these
hierbas.
spacious grounds. But maybe it's time to make them more useful.
Oh, yes. We certainly should. The way I see things, given your trade, sir, you would be wise to put in a grindstone and an armorer's table. A good way to start things off, don't you think?
Pues sí, ¿por qué no? Bueno, puedo hacer las dos cosas, ¿no? Pero no me dicen el oro que me cuesta.
Time to time. You know, oil this, reinforce that. Could use a decent work table where I could do all that.
Admiral Rompali once hired a specialist who made the finest armorer's tables this side of the Yaruga. I will contact him at once.
Vale, 1000.
Good. Order me up a table like that.
Immediately, sir. I expect it will take at most 1 day to arrive. Will you be needing anything else, sir?
Bueno, pues ya que estamos, la piedra de afilar.
In my trade, my blades get dull pretty quick. Could use a grindstone, professional grade.
Of course. No one would consider that an unnecessary extravagance, I would wager.
También 1000.
Then send out for one, please. A high-quality stone to be set up in the yard.
Of course. I shall send a runner to town at once. I believe you shall be grinding to your heart's content by tomorrow. Will you be needing anything else, sir?
No puedo hacer más cosas en el terreno como
Starting to get
hierbas.
into this whole renovating thing. There must be other things we can improve.
I agree. Yet I would urge you to hold off on further construction until the ongoing work is done. Juggling can be a challenging art. It's best not to undertake too much at once.
Vale, pues... ¿Y en la casa?
Been thinking about the outer walls. Maybe a fresh coat of paint or some patching.
If I might dare to make a suggestion, why not start with a general renovation? I once oversaw such work at Admiral Rompeli's summer residence. The effects were simply breathtaking. Not only did the residence positively sparkle afterwards, but we also made room to display the Admiral's armor and weapons, of which he was a passionate collector.
Buah, 5000, no los tengo. Vale, pues más adelante lo conseguiremos.
Need to think it over some.
A
I
ver,
understand, of course.
conseguirlo vamos a conseguir
As the venerable
todo.
Lady Eve Knibley would so
¿Cuándo?
quaintly
No lo
put
sé.
it, The rash oft contract rashes.
Vale, ya discutiremos más tarde, ahora prefiero sacar la colación a otro tema.
Know what? Changed my mind. Not in the mood to talk about redecoration today. But I wanted to ask you something else.
I shall be glad to answer your every question, sir.
Pues ya está.
Thanks. Gotta get back to my business now. See you soon.
Vale, devuelve a Corvo Bianco su antiguo esplendor. Espera un día que llegue la piedra a afilar. Vale, pues vamos a esperar un día. Por cierto, ya que vamos a esperar, voy a enseñaros que he hecho una reformita aquí. Como veis, ahora solamente del apartado de señales solamente tengo la de persuasión. Las dos que tenía ya las he quitado y las he redistribuido. Y ahora ya lo tenemos como antes, aunque esta vez en vez de usar lo de las armaduras medias, que es para que se regeneren un 5% más rápido las señales. A ver, ¿dónde está? Aquí. Un 5%. Por 4 piezas son un 20%. O sea, vamos a probar así de momento y si no, volveré a aprenderlo. Tampoco cuesta solo cuesta 1 punto. Y tengo 3. Y lo he cambiado por lanzamiento de bombas y en este caso pues para que causen fragmentos. Pues eso, vamos a meditar un día entero, ¿no? Nos han dicho. Pues vamos a hacer esto y 1 hora más. O de hecho vamos a esperar al amanecer. Como veis tengo solo 1800 de oro ahora mismo. Y ahora las pociones que estoy usando es la de troll, la de Katakán y la de Sukubo. Para hacer más daño durante el combate. Vale, y ahora supongo que me he puesto la piedra de molar y todo aquí al lado del establo. Están aquí. Está aquí la piedra de molar y la de las armaduras, vale. Las mejoramos y ya la tenemos listas. Vamos a ver. Yo creo que llevamos ya 16 minutos. No me va a dar tiempo a hacer nada más. Hoy va a ser un vídeo corto respecto al anterior. Así que lo vamos a dejar aquí. Si os ha gustado el vídeo, dadle a like, suscribiros si no lo estáis. Recordad que en la descripción del vídeo están mis redes sociales y el setup de mi PC. Y nada más. Nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo. ¡Hasta luego!